Today we have a really special guest. We have Rayson Choo. Rayson, welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Oh, it's really my honor and pleasure to be here on the show, and I am actually really excited for this. Yeah, I'm really excited for this, and just let me introduce myself a little. Okay, so basically, I'm a psychiatric nurse, okay, based in Singapore, and also at the same time, I'm a motivational speaker as well. So I help men and women as well to be more confident about their life and build their self-esteem, build more resiliency in them, and also at the same time helping them to learn how to get more media opportunities as well.
Awesome, man. Thank you for that intro. And, prior to the show, we were talking about different things we think would really help Asian guys when it comes to their
Yep.
confidence, their masculinity, their dating
Yeah.
lives. And the topic of anxiety came up. Now, this is a really near and dear topic to my heart because I think I basically have had every
Mm-hmm.
anxiety disorder, such as panic disorder, OCD, body dysmorphia, which may not be an anxiety disorder, but also generalized anxiety disorder. And I think for a lot of guys,
Yep.
what they don't realize, and a lot of Asian guys I notice, the issue isn't so much about how to talk to a girl or meeting and attracting women. It's the fact that they have
Yep.
really high anxiety and very low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
So can you kind of dive into the anxiety disorders that are prevalent, let's say among Asian men or among people? And then I guess as we go along, we can kind of
Mm-hmm.
talk about how to actually overcome that anxiety. Because I think for a lot of anxiety sufferers,
Yeah.
you know how irrational, how illogical it is. And it's one of those things where they know they shouldn't feel that way or that it's irrational, but they can't stop themselves from feeling
Yep.
so on edge.
Well, I believe in Singapore especially, generalized anxiety disorder is pretty much common in the men, in the men and the women of Singapore as well, because I would say widely it's due to many factors. Okay, some of the factors could be due to stress. Okay, it could be environmental stress, family stress. It could be due to work stress as well that cause them to have this, because in Singapore everything has to be fast, right? So I believe in US as well, people would also want things to be fast and to be efficiently done as well. So people will tend to stress themselves up, and then the bosses, the managers, and etc. will also stress them up with all the clients as well, right? So instead of being so calm and collected and doing the things at ease, somehow or other people will tend to be very panicky. They will be perspiring a lot. They'll be their heartbeat, their pulse rate will be very high because of this anxiety as well, and they'll be having difficulty in breathing at times. So yeah, and all this generalized anxiety disorder or anxiety per se, it's pretty much catching up for Singaporeans and even other, I believe in other countries as well. They are also catching up because of the, I would say, higher demands from their work life and even their personal life as well. So yeah, it's really it's really not so nice to actually see people being so panicky and all. And in my opinion, right, instead of being so panicky, so anxious, why not do some things like this? Okay, so I believe, right, whenever we are so caught up in our work, societal stress, societal pressure, work pressure, I believe sometimes we need to actually do this basic exercise, and that is called deep breathing exercise. Okay, it's like meditating, but um, I call it deep breathing exercises that can actually help to lower down the anxiety. Because when you are actually having deep breathing exercises, you are actually giving yourself me time. It's not saying that going overseas or going to the arcade or go to the gym is just me time. There are many other things that you can do to actually lower down your anxiety. And deep breathing exercise is one of the key things that I actually do, not just myself, or I also do it with my patients as well. So it's really very simple. So what you can do is you can breathe in on the count of four. Okay. So breathe in and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold. Okay, hold there for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then breathe out 6 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then even if you are thinking of some things while you're doing this, it's perfectly fine. That's how the brain works. So you can just take deep breaths and then do it for 10 times to 20 times, and then after that just slowly concentrate on your breathing pattern. Just slowly concentrate on it, and then after that, I'm sure your anxiety will be lessened a little. Okay, you just keep doing until you feel better. You feel slightly better. You feel like you are not so anxious, so uptight. Then that is the point where you are actually aware that you are slightly at ease already.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think for a
Yeah.
lot of people, it's actually just kind of funny just looking at my screen right now. And I know for the people on
Hmm.
the podcast listening to it, they don't see the video, but
Yep.
you just see a black screen with my name on it. However, I do want to
Yep.
say this is absolutely critical because if you have anxiety, this may sound very counterintuitive, but the worst thing for you to do is to get even more in your head about why you have anxiety
Mm.
and think more about anxiety, because anxiety is something
Yep.
that is really illogical. It's actually it's really hard to think yourself
Mhm.
into feeling better. But I think the breathing thing is pretty spot on because I remember when I used to have terrible anxiety to the point that I
Mhm.
would wake up at nighttime with my heart pounding. I would have to like deliberately use
Mhm.
my breath to reduce the hyperarousal. And I don't mean hyperarousal in the sexual sense, but as in my
Yep.
nervous system going crazy and actually calm my
Mhm.
physiology. So, with all this being said, with anxiety, besides deep breathing, what other advice would you give for a guy that experiences anxiety in his life? And actually, let's turn it towards the realm of women. Let's say he feels a lot of anxiety when it comes to
Mhm.
approaching women, when asking a girl out, going on a date with a girl. What would be your
Mhm.
advice to him besides breathing?
Besides breathing, I will also encourage him to be having positive thinking. Okay, meaning to say, I'm not saying just wishful thinking that he has the girl in his arms right now. Okay, that form of visualization kind of work, but he needs to do the work as well, right? So instead of just visualizing the girl besides him, uh, imagine that he's gonna have a great time with her. Plus, uh, imagine how he did it last time that was perfectly okay during the dating relationship period of time where he had an A. Okay, in his mind, he already knew that, well, that was an A or A plus game for him when he was actually dating the previous girl. That was really, they had a great time. They were laughing. They were actually, I would say, very happy times together with him. Visualize on that. Think about that. And then after that, tell yourself that, okay, I'm going to make sure that it will happen. It's just that it will be slightly different, much more better uh, this time round. So instead of just thinking so much about, man, how I'm gonna fuck this up. Instead of thinking about how I'm gonna fuck this up, why not think about how I'm gonna make this fucking awesome? Make that, and then keep telling yourself that you're gonna make it awesome. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be amazing. You're gonna have a great time together. It's like a form of visualization plus self affirmations, I would say, and that is one of the thing that I believe it will be very helpful for the person, because everything started from within. Every dating dating happiness, or uh, in terms of dating satisfaction, it all starts from within. If you have too much of expectations of yourself during the whole dating process, like, oh, you're gonna make sure you do this and that, you have a checklist of what you need to do, then you're gonna be overly pressurizing yourself, and it will make sure that you're gonna have anxiety even more, and even to the extent of getting, if you are suffering from any anxiety disorder, that it might uh, make it relapse again. So I'll rather you tell yourself that you're gonna have a great time. Of course, I don't want you to, if you are a patient or anything, don't keep popping pills to make sure that you're calmer. It doesn't work that way, you know. Instead of that, tell yourself, visualize the whole scenario, how you're gonna make sure that it's gonna be fun, how you had it before as well, how you had a great time before during the past few relationships, and how you're gonna make it even better this time around. And also at the same time, self affirming thoughts, self affirming speeches to yourself, saying that, hey man, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be amazing time together. Something along this line.
Gotcha. And I do want to actually, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, not because I'm deliberately like, oh my god, I'm gonna put him on the spot. But I remember for
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm gonna use myself. I'm gonna use myself
Yep.
a few years ago because I gotta say I have probably one of the most resistant minds ever, which is a good thing because it's
Mm-hmm.
almost impossible for anyone to sell me. But
Yep.
at the same time, it's really hard for me to change a belief. And if that belief is
Yes.
put into something really negative, like anything that leads to anxiety back in the day, it was really hard
Mm-hmm.
because, all the advice you said was really good. And I would say for someone that's at an extremely neurotic level, like I was, they might say,
Mm-hmm.
like, well, Ray, son, but I feel like I'm fucking lying to myself. I feel like this is just me. It's like, it's like a guy
Mm-hmm.
that's been really angry and someone tells him like to be grateful for life and he's trying to like list out the things he's grateful for, but he's like, I'm
Yep.
fucking grateful. This doesn't fucking work, right? And I guess the question I have, if I had to summarize it, is for someone that's very neurotic and who thinks that,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I know I can do that and say self affirming things, but I think it's just bullshit because I don't believe it and I haven't had evidence of, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
liking me. What would be your advice for this type of guy that has really, like a really resistant mind?
Then you have to ask yourself the question: why do you, at the first time, at the first place, you're thinking about having this date on? Because if you are thinking that you are going to get this date just so that it can satisfy you, and maybe in terms of sexually or in terms of emotionally, uh, so that it can cover up your wounds at the back of your mind and the back of your heart, then I would suggest no, please don't, right? And also at the same time, because I used to have, in, for me, right, I used to have dating anxiety as well, especially meeting people who are new, people who are friends of friends, or even uh, people from Tinder or any dating websites as well. I was uh, at that point of time, I was, you know, messaging them, and I was always telling myself, man, I don't think this will work. And apparently, you know what? It In the end, it didn't work out as well, right? And so what I did was that I'm thankful that I have friends who are actually dating coaches like Val and some other people that has already uh, no longer be in the dating line already. I actually seek their advice, and they told me that, man, what what has what have you been doing in the past that has caused you monumental failures? Okay, what has caused you monumental failures? And I was thinking, hey, it was it my thinking, my attitude, the way I speak to the ladies? And he said, and they said that, it's all along the line. You see, it's like a domino effect. If you are thinking negatively, like, man, I'm gonna fuck this up. I'm an angry man. I hate my life. Then why on earth do you need a girl then? Is it someone to just to suppress your anger? Is it someone that's gonna just to suppress your loneliness? Because if it is, then I believe you are actually setting yourself up for dating and relationship failure. So instead of doing that, why not ask yourself, how do you love yourself even more first? I'm not talking about being narcissistic. I'm talking about the fact. Because if you can't even love yourself, or you can't even get over your head about who you are and why you want a date and a girlfriend and a wife in the first place, then you are setting yourself up for failure in terms of relationship and dating. Because I, I truly believe, right, in my opinion, whoever has a negative mindset about anything that is got to do with relationship and dating, and they are super negative about it, somehow or rather, when the time comes, time will tell. Time will tell whether it will work or not. And and the thing is, when you are very upset about with yourself, right, it will cause the whole relationship, even it will cause it to go to the downside, because the person who is with you, they, girls especially, they might have this thinking of wanting to try and change you to who they want you to be, rather than being your best self. Because the girls don't even know 100% about you during the first few dates, or during the first few months of relationship, or even the first few years of relationship. They are still trying to get to know you even more. But if you are so resistive, and you are so anxious, you are so upset with yourself, man, that will be detrimental for a relationship. That will be very negative, in my opinion. So the first thing you have to do is to learn how to love yourself even more, and also at the same time ask yourself why do you want this relationship? Why do you want to be with this girl? Why do you want to actually go out with this lady? Is it because you are lonely, you have not much friends, that's why you want to make new friends? Or is it because you're very horny and you need a girl to satisfy your sexual satisfactions, right? Or is it more than that, because you want to make new friends and you want to explore, you want to make sure that it's a really awesome experience between you and the girl, and then you want to actually make sure that want to know more about this girl, want to make sure that she is somehow rather accepting your your you as who you are, and also at the same time becoming together in the long run, right, as a couple. So yeah, it's most of the time I would say it's got to do with the mind game. Sometimes you need to know more about yourself, and then what right girl that you really are looking for, before you go and take the plunge and then say that, oh, this girl is going to be my girlfriend, this girl is going to be my wife. Because no one is certain which girl is going to be your wife, which girl is going to be your uh, date for a long run, right? Going to be your girlfriend for the long run. So yeah, so this is what I truly believe in. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I agree. I think, actually, the point that came to my mind is
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of guys got to realize that while anxiety may make you feel really shitty about yourself, as well as,
Mm-hmm.
it might cause you to focus on how you're a victim. Like, oh my God, this is another area of my life that sucks with women,
Yep.
right? Especially one of the most
Mm-hmm.
important areas. But I gotta say, I'm actually gonna shock some of the people listening right now, and anyone with
All right.
anxiety, where I'm gonna
Okay.
say it's not all about you. I'm gonna put it in more plain English. It's not all fucking about you. Because I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of guys, like, and I get it too. I'm not saying this to be a dick, but I get it when guys are very desperate for women, or they feel like it's not
Yep.
working. They enter into like this very weird and I understand it too. I've been there. So it's all stuff I've been through. But I want to say from my experience,
Mhm.
I went into a very weird negative state, and I would endlessly go through pickup stuff, game stuff, dating advice stuff,
Yep.
how to acquire women, how to get women. And then I started to
Mhm.
realize that, first of all, the energy behind it is like a salesman, like a used car salesman that's trying to sell a shitty
Mhm.
car to you. And then I realized,
Yep.
like, I have to become the man that she wants. And then another
Mhm.
thing that may sound like obvious to a lot of guys, but I don't think they
Mhm.
actually truly feel it and believe it, is that there's a person on the other side of you. What about you would make her want to be with you?